How about Brics? You know, the BRIC states, there are like 6 of them, and they were trying to destroy our dollar. They were going to say, you know, they wanted to create a new currency. They probably wanted to use the yuan. China, they wanted to use the yuan. And Biden said, well, this is a tough situation. There's not much we can do about that. We can't help that. I said, oh, we can help it. So when I came in, the first thing I said is any BRIC state that even mentions the destruction of the dollar will be charged a 150% tariff. And we don't want your goods. We don't want to partake. And the BRIC states just broke up. I don't know what the hell happened to them. We haven't heard from the BRIC states lately.
The president feels, generally speaking, that Brics is seeking to undermine the interests of the United States. It's the president's utmost responsibility to put the interests of the United States first. That's how he views his job as president. So he's going to ensure that America is fairly treated on the world stage, and he'll take any action necessary to prevent countries from taking advantage of the United States and our people.
So does President Trump believe that the BRICS are getting stronger or trying to isolate the United States? And how close is he monitoring this summit that is taking place in Brazil right now?
He's closely monitoring it, which is why he put out a statement himself. He does not perceive these countries as growing stronger. He just perceives them as trying to undermine the United States' interests, and that's not okay with him, no matter how strong or weak a country may be.
Now is the time, and the place is Brics. Brics sends a clear and unequivocal message. New technologies must operate within a fair and equitable governance model. The development of artificial intelligence cannot become the privilege of a few countries or an instrument of manipulation in the hands of billionaires.
Russia has issued an initiative to create within BRICS a new investment platform that will take into account the new BRICS Development Bank. The carrying out of this initiative will allow us to create the new development bank and to turn it into an innovative instrument for development that would not be affected by outside agendas.
Past what he thinks the likelihood is that America experiences a crisis related to its deficit or debt levels.
I think that there's more than a 50% chance that in 3 years, give or take a year or two, that we will experience a trauma if we don't deal with this well.
A growing debt load also limits the government's ability to fight off an emergency should there be one.
2008 financial crisis, COVID, we actually used debt to get our way out. People got used to those checks in the mail and other types of benefits and so forth. What happens now when debt itself is the problem? You can't use debt to get out of the debt problem. It's too late at that point.
One thing that the past years and the growing geopolitical environment have shown us is that we should assume there will be future emergencies. We are not in an emergency-free moment.
When Admiral Michael Mullen was asked back in 2010 what he thought was the biggest threat to national security, his answer shocked the nation.
I responded that the most significant threat was our national debt, which was a bit of a surprise.
There's been a lot of questions in the market about what the administration's stance is on the dollar, whether there truly is a strong dollar policy or whether that policy, a long-term policy of strong dollar support, has shifted to something else.
I'm not sure why that is in the market. The price of the dollar has nothing to do with a strong dollar policy. Current currencies move up and down based on a variety of factors, but a strong dollar policy means several things. One is what is the dollar strong against, or is another currency stronger, higher in price at the moment? That doesn't have anything to do with a strong dollar policy. The strong dollar policy is, are we doing the things over the long term to ensure that the U.S. dollar remains the reserve currency of the world? And we are. We are setting the stage for economic growth. We are constraining inflation. We are making the United States the best destination for global capital. And I think that's going to continue to happen. I think, as I said, Many times over since World War II, the demise of the dollar as reserve currency has been predicted, and I think once again the skeptic's going to be wrong. But there is no change in policy.
Ultimately, we will have to have some kind of universal basic income. I don't think we're going to have a choice.
Universal basic income.
Universal basic income. I think it's going to be necessary.
So it means that unemployed people will be paid across the globe.
Yeah.
Because there is no job, machine, robot is taking over.
That's simply and I want to be clear that these are not things that I think that I wish would happen. These are simply things that I think probably will happen.
Welcome to the Crypto Teacher, and you know I come back with that video just to make you think.
Don't forget to like and subscribe to the channel.
And make sure you join the Patrons. If you're not a part of the Patrons, make sure you're hitting the Cash App. Also, go like and follow the TikTok. More videos to come. And we have Trump goes after the Brics. And we know this is the next phase to the movie. Remember, your life is an illusion and TV is your reality. And that's the reason why all this debt is going to become more and more important. Because if you have the world reserve currency and you're printing the money, all is good if the countries are deciding to go along with it. But as we see, the countries are being hurt. The currencies are being devalued. Plenty of inflation, and they're turning to other sources, and that's these stable coins. But we know the NWO caused the problem, wait for the reaction, and run in with the solution. This is a plan. It moves in phases. And that digital yuan, backed by that digital SDR, and that Belt and Road is about to rise right along with the Brics. And we see the dollar weakening because we know no one wants this long-term paper. And because we had the Brics meeting over the last couple of days, what did we get? That's right, a distraction. And it works every time. Now it's Epstein again. No clients. And if they wanted to release information, they would have released it a long time ago. Martin Luther King, JFK would get the same information. And we know the reason why. Because it always points back to the same people. And remember, the Crypto Teacher told you. And we have Elon's American Party come as the American people are going to start getting laid off in masses. And they're going to be upset with the Republicans and Democrats. So now they'll have somewhere to run because the machines are about to take over those jobs. And who told you that was going to happen? That's right, Elon. Videos everywhere. Machines are going to take over the economy. You need universal basic income. And that's just in time for this stablecoin bill because we know these stablecoins are going to be programmable. Being able to tell you what, when, and how to buy. And you have 3 to 6 months to spend it or poof, it's gone. And remember, the Crypto Teacher told you. And we have Bit Digital converts all of his Bitcoin to ETH. And don't forget, Tom Lee said that ETH is the new Bitcoin. And now we're going to see Ethereum's ecosystem show its utility for this new digital economy. And remember, the Crypto Teacher told you. And we have China robots already playing soccer. Yes, guys, you can't make this stuff up. Remember, the emerging markets are going to lead this fourth industrial revolution where the robots, algorithms, and drones take the economy over, pay each other with crypto, and the sheep go inside the metaverse. And remember, the Crypto Teacher told you, because he knows when it comes to the NWO, it's all planned out. You have a wonderful day.
You know, it was also widely reported that Bill had a friendship or business or some kind of contact with Jeffrey Epstein, and that you were not, that was very upsetting to you. Did that play a role in the divorce at all in this process?
Yeah, as I said, it's not one thing, it was many things. But I did not like that he'd had meetings with Jeffrey Epstein, no.
One of the things that you alluded to, and this is something Donald Trump has talked about, the DOJ may be releasing the list of Jeffrey Epstein's clients. Will that really happen?
It's sitting on my desk right now to review. That's been a directive by President Trump. I'm reviewing that. I'm reviewing JFK files, MLK files. That's all in the process of being reviewed because that was done at the directive of the president from all of these agencies.
Caroline, the DOJ and FBI have now concluded there was no Jeffrey Epstein client list. What do you tell MAGA supporters who say they want anyone involved in Jeffrey Epstein's alleged crimes to be held accountable?
This administration wants anyone who has ever committed a crime to be held accountable, and I would argue this administration has done more to lock up bad guys than certainly the previous administration. And the Trump administration is committed to truth and to transparency. That's why the Attorney General and the FBI Director pledged at the President's direction to do an exhaustive review of all of the files related to Jeffrey Epstein's crimes and his death. And they put out a memo in conclusion of that review. There was material they did not release because, frankly, it was incredibly graphic and it contained child pornography, which is not something that's appropriate for public consumption. But they committed to an exhaustive investigation. That's what they did, and they provided the results of that. That's transparency.
Follow up on that,
Sure.
Caroline. Okay, so the FBI looks at the circumstances surrounding the death of Jeffrey Epstein. According to the report, this systematic review revealed no incriminating client list. So what happened to the Epstein client list that the Attorney General said she had on her desk?
Well, I think if you go back and look at what the Attorney General said in that interview, which was on your network on Fox News.
I've got the quote.
Go ahead.
John Roberts said, DOJ may be releasing the list of Jeffrey Epstein's clients. Will that really happen? And she said, it's sitting on my desk right now to review.
Yes, she was saying the entirety of all of the paperwork, all of the paper in relation to Jeffrey Epstein's crimes. That's what the Attorney General was referring to, and I'll let her speak for that. But again, when it comes to the FBI and the Department of Justice, they are more than committed to ensuring that bad people are put behind bars. They have an operation going on right now called Summer Heat, which has our murder rate trending in the lowest direction in United States history. Their emphasis on violent crime and locking up violent criminals has led to the arrest of 14,000 violent criminals. That's a 62% increase from the same time period last year. So this Attorney General and the FBI Director are committed to putting bad people behind bars where they belong. They promised an exhaustive review. That's what they did. For any further details, I would refer you to the Department of Justice.
What is the size of Elon Musk's base? Well, I calculate it to be about 4%, just 4%, 1, 2, 3, 4% of all voters. What is that base made up of? Well, it's those who view Elon Musk favorably and the GOP unfavorably. We're talking just about 4% of all voters out there because it turns out most of the people who like Elon Musk already like the GOP already. That is, they already have a party for him. In my mind, there is just no base for Elon Musk's third party in the electorate, at least initially speaking.
What he's done. The problem is when you do another party, especially if you're running on some of the issues that he talks about, you know, that would end up, if he funds Senate candidates and House candidates in competitive races, that would likely end up meaning the Democrats would win all the competitive Senate and House races. And so, look, I'm a Republican. You know, I don't want to see that happen. I think if you want to, you know, get involved and hold accountable, you know, we do have a problem in the Republican Party with these D.C. congressmen. They always run saying there's out of control spending and they're going to spend less, and they never do it. And so there's a gap between the campaign rhetoric and then the performance. Elon was doing Doge, and a lot of Congress didn't want anything to do with actually adopting the Doge cuts, just like they haven't wanted to adopt the Trump executive orders on immigration and all these other things, which I think you have to adopt in law if you want them to have staying power. So I think there is a lot of frustration with the gap between the rhetoric in their district and the performance once they get into D.C. But the way you do that is expose that in a primary and show that there's another way forward. Honestly, if you're concerned about the debt, I wouldn't even worry about that, because I don't think just electing a few better people is going to change the trajectory. We need the incentives in Washington are going to lead to these outcomes, really regardless of the outcome of elections at this point. So you need to do a balanced budget amendment to the U.S. Constitution, and you can do that through the states. You can do it through Article 5. We've got 28 states that have approved this. There's another 4 or 5 that are on the docket. Once you hit 34, then you write an amendment, and then the states are able to ratify that. You need 3/4. If Elon wanted to weigh in on that and work on those state legislatures, he would have a monumental impact on doing this. And we also need term limits for members of Congress. And so you can do both of those things. But I think if you did that, all of a sudden, that moves the needle on both of those issues. Under Article 5 of the Constitution, you are going to see major positive changes, but you have to change the incentives and the structures up there, because we've seen it time and time again. You have the rhetoric, same results. You have the rhetoric, same results when it comes to debt. And so this is one way to do it, and it's within our grasp to do it. Florida's already certified both of those.
BitDigital shifted its entire treasury to Ethereum, becoming one of the largest ETH holders among public companies. Can you take us through what was behind the move?
Look, coming from an institutional background, I've been in this space for many years, and I feel like many investors felt like they missed on the Bitcoin wave. Ethereum represents that next wave. And, we're not just buying a coin, we're putting our reserves into a protocol that powers trillions of on-chain activity. We believe Ethereum is becoming a new category for as a strategic corporate asset, like gold and treasury bonds once were, but with one difference. Ethereum is alive. It moves with technological innovation. It has tens of thousands of developers on-chain, more than any other blockchain, including Bitcoin or Solana. And also, Ethereum captures real activity, real economic activity. As stablecoin volumes grows, as tokenization becomes a thing, the fees generated by that activity flow back to ETH holders, and Bitcoin does not participate in that feedback loop, in that value loop. We believe Ethereum is where economic throughput is frankly heading.
Now, BitDigital raised about $172 million and is using that capital to buy ETH. The company also sold more than 417 Bitcoin, which was the firm's entire remaining Bitcoin position, and used the proceeds to buy more ETH. So where does the company stand now in terms of your ETH holdings, and will that capital be used for anything else? What are your plans?
That's right. We sold a profitable business. We exited a profitable business, Bitcoin mining. And we took the cash on our balance sheet and we sold all our Bitcoin, and we did this raise. I actually personally participated in that raise myself with my own savings, and we poured that all into Ethereum. We now have 100,000 Ethereum we have accumulated about 100,000 on our balance sheet.
China is calling this the first 3-on-3 humanoid robot soccer match. But Messi and Ronaldo don't have much to worry about. These athletes seem to putt around, excel in face plants, and headbutting one another. Some even had to be carried off the pitch. But it's not the athletic play that is world class, it's the technology. China claims all these robots are AI-driven without human intervention, programmed to do push-ups, walk uphill, and withstand a straight shot to the chest.
Going to a different economy, and we're going to be learning more about that as we go. But clearly, we're learning that things can be done from remote locations. We're learning that technology can replace people even more than we thought.
We're not going back to the same economy. We're recovering, but to a different economy, and it'll be one that is more leveraged to technology. And I worry that that is going to make it even more difficult than it was for many workers.
In Silicon Valley, and my friends who work in technology know that what we did to the manufacturing workers, we are now going to do to the retail workers, the call center workers, the fast food workers, the truck drivers, and then even bookkeepers, accountants, insurance agents, lawyers, and on through the economy. So what happened to the manufacturing workers is a very clear sign.
And so we'll import Chinese-based CBDC technology. So it's going to be CBDC in a box provided to you by the People's Bank of China.
But every stock, every bond, every currency, every commodity, every piece of art, every private business, every piece of real estate will eventually be a token on a blockchain, an entry on a ledger, permanent and immutable. We will have truth instead of trust. and we will save over $7 trillion a year. 6 to 8% of global GDP is wasted by the friction of the trust industry that's necessary when you have dual entry accounting. With triple entry accounting, which is what a blockchain is, we get rid of all of that friction. It's a beautiful future.
Like what you see in China and their social credit scoring systems, right? If we get identity wrong, it could be a tool to enslave humanity. And if we get it right, it could be a tool to liberate humanity. And as an American, I'm obviously rooting for the one that's on the side of freedom.
Bitcoin is an international asset. And also, I do believe the role of crypto is, it's digitizing gold.
I actually believe this technology is going to be very important. Look at it. We have been part of the huge revolution in investing through ETFs. We believe that ETFs will be changing the whole way we invest. Many people still use it as a means, people are investing it for indexing. No, the majority of people who are putting money in in ETFs are active investors that are buying exposure. The entire bond market is being transformed as we talk right now. I believe the next generation for markets, the next generation for securities will be tokenization of securities. And if we can have that distributed ledger that we know every beneficial owner, every beneficial seller, we all have our code of who's buying, who's selling, instantaneous settlement. And think about it, it changes the whole ecosystem.
Chinese bank ICBC has been hit by a ransomware attack, and the U.S. Treasury market, as a result of that, has been disrupted. This, according to the Financial Times. We're getting at more right now with Bloomberg's Shonali Bassick. Shonali, what do we know?
Listen, we have the Financial Times now reporting that ICBC, one of China's largest banks here, was hit with a ransomware attack. And remember, they're a very significant intermediary in the Treasury market. The SIFMA has told its members that this has been part of the reason here that the system is kind of clogged up, if you will, during that auction that we saw a little bit before. The attack had prevented ICBC, according to the Financial Times, from settling Treasury trades on behalf of other market participants. A large executive at a major bank also telling the paper that such a large party on the fixed income clearing corp creates major concerns, potentially impacting the liquidity of Treasury markets.
Now, it was not just a poor auction. It was absolutely lousy, and when the dealers have to step in to save a treasury auction, that's a rare occurrence. And
Cryptoteacher and the New World Order book, plus the 3 kids books. It's time to re-educate. Also, new to cryptos, Coinbase, Bitrue, Binance. Do not forget book links and crypto links are in the description. The stock channel, guys. Don't forget to go like, subscribe, spread everywhere. You have your Kobo, your chip stocks, your banking, your gaming. While everybody's sitting at home, get home stocks, the Seaver, the biotech stocks. And while everybody's at home wishing they were still getting that free money, what are they doing? Drinking and smoking weed. Don't forget about those stocks, and you have a wonderful day. The most powerful person in the world is the storyteller. The storyteller sets the vision, values, and agenda of an entire generation to come. Steve Jobs. And guys, you know I truly believe in this. When you look at the New World Order, they're the storytellers. And that's the reason why I wrote my New World Order book. But guys, now it's time to change the current generation. And I wrote 3 kids books. You know I love the Trinity because I understand the power that's in it. So I have 3 books. We have an opportunity to change the generation, to educate, not just me, but I want to show you that I take action on a daily basis. And I want you to take action on a daily basis. Whether it's your job, whether it's in your community, we have an opportunity right now to educate the masses. I posted this on my Twitter account. Please share, but this is a short clip of the 3 books. There's going to be a clothing line and action figures. Please get these books for your kids, nephews, cousins, friends, so therefore we can start the re-education now. Because as we see, the 4th Industrial Revolution foundation is definitely here. Robots, algorithms, drones, taking humanity out the picture. We have to re-educate. But let's get into the video.
Part 1. King Joshua and Grandma Tam save the village. Part 2. King Joshua and Grandma Tam save New York from COVID Stories 3. Part 3. King Joshua and Grandma Tam goes to China.
It's mandatory to get part 1, part 2, and part 3 of this series. It's time to re-educate Generation Z.